Hello, my name is Hugh Spence. I've been retired for approximately 4.5 years. My last 10 years of work, I'd say the last 7 years of work, I had to put my mother and my father to rest, to raise me and gave me a good life and able to buy a house in a rough environment and thrive. But by the time they were in their 50s and 60s, had major health issues. Maybe they spent 5 to 6 years in what we can call retirement together, but it was most of the time was, I would have liked to have been a lot more pleasurable. Knowing when to retire is an excellent question. I knew three women of color, who I all knew. One was a supervisor, and these three women had three tragic things in common. One, the three of them all passed away the same week. Two on a Saturday, and one in, say, like midweek. What was key about this is that all of them passed away based on illnesses that had overcome them while they were still in the world of work and could have retired but continued to work, and they passed away shortly after their retirement. And because I knew these women for so many years, and I knew how hard they worked, and I looked at that the only thing that got them out of the working environment was sickness on the job. It's not that they had to reach a certain age; they were all of age, and they finally were forced out because they were sick. It started me thinking that what's different about me? I've been in the system as long as they have. I did not want to work until, and because we were in very high stress environment, and yes, stress kills. I said, I need to find a way to break away from this work that's always going to be there, and there'll be great people who come and fill that void once I'm gone, and really go and smell the roses for a moment. And that's what I did. That's what, helped me. And within a year and a half from losing my three friends, I was out of the system, Say to you to say that you can take that and figure that you need to follow that path, or you can take it and say, if I'm going to break the legacy, I need to start with me and figure out a different way to kind of approach it. It took over a year. I think now, some interesting things happened. One, before I retired, I could have swore I had early Alzheimer's, because what the reality was, I was task saturated, so task overload. I had so much information I had to process on a daily basis that things would sometimes fall by the wayside. After about say 2 years, I started to be able to memory came back in a way that I could look at the situation very comfortably, and it's like all of a sudden I was getting, like I had total recall on so many things that I was able to do and accomplish over my years of work. So looking back on the work started to become more of an enjoyable look, and thinking about, because I still stayed in touch with my colleagues, to be able to, they used me as a point of reference where I could, sit and remember things and hopefully give them some guidance in terms of how to kind of push, some issues forward. I suggest that you look at and you make decisions that can fit, an environment that is fruitful, and where you can look and say, I can have some times, and I never like the word retirement. Let's just say, as you move on to things that you can do for you later in life, try to do it in a way that you have all your druthers with you. You have your strength, you have your health, you have your physicality, and you have your mental capacity. Mm-hmm. You find things that you're passionate about, and you never know what they are, and so you have to expose yourself to a lot of things. You put so much more energy into it, and it really, engages the mind. I'm a winemaker. I like to say I feel like because I've put a good 5 years into reading and trying and creating wine from the vines that I grow here, and I feel confident that I know what I'm doing. I'm a gardener, and I plant anything that will grow. There's something to me that's so important, me personally, about having your feet on earth and your hands in dirt. I think it's extremely therapeutic. So when I can't, for periods of time, get my hands in dirt and feel the earth, it somehow affects me. So I'm always, it's always an urge. I'm also a techie. I'm into technology married with vintage at the same time. If you look behind me, there is a 1979 Toyota FJ40. What I like about this project is that I was never really a car person, other than the fact that I knew that one day I wanted to have a vintage car. And when I say I was not a car person, I always had a car, but never really looked at vintage cars. But as a kid growing up, I would go to the library, and I basically learned to reading things like Hot Rod magazine. But I always, in my back of my mind, is thinking about having these goals. I always say someday I want to have a vintage car. This is one of a bucket list of things, to-do list, that I may never ever finish that list, because every time I find something that makes something move inside my mind and my heart, I put it on the list, because there's always the next thing. And when I leave this earth, I'm going to leave a list of things that I just didn't get to, because it's an infinite amount of opportunities out there of things for you to immerse yourselves in. Areas that I never thought I'd be involved with, I'm involved. It's interesting. And then at the end of the day, before I close my eyes every night, I always do a quick check, and I look back, and I always say, well, what new did I learn today that's interesting? I need to get something to make me go, oh man, I really didn't know that. I also have a rule that, it's very important that you surround yourself with people of like minds. Very, very important. People who are even more energetic than I am, and people who are very creative, because if you surround yourself with folks who can sometimes just be a pull on your own energy, you have to find a way to make some adjustments, because sometimes they say birds of a feather stick together. You have to create positive and engaging environments, and it's not just your physical surroundings, but also is the type of individuals that you interact with. The folks that I've been hanging out with, in fact, we call it the Cuba crew, their average age is about 70. These guys, and women have me on the average by almost 10 years, and I look at how energetic they are and the type of things that they're doing, and every time I speak to them, it's either they're coming off something that they did, going to some function, going somewhere, and it encourages me that I could be doing this. I'm 61. That I could be doing this. I could be as energetic as these folks are, 10, 15 years down the road.